Welcome back, adventurers, to Session 5 of our ongoing journey into the Dragon's Delve, a dungeon of danger, mystery and ancient power. Our heroes press deeper into the labyrinth's twisting corridors, facing new perils and uncovering secrets long buried beneath the earth. So grab your dice, ready your spells, and join us once more as we descend into the Dragon's Delve.
You're perfectly welcome to try to kill as many NPCs.
Just so long as you get about 320 experience.
It's a really interesting one that you guys talking about lawful good is actually Fria, in my mind, is chaotic neutral. But at the moment, she wants the party to be organised because that's what's keeping her alive. It's really interesting to see how Vulf is playing a chaotic, just barbarian, going and kick everything, and just do it. Impatience, and whereas Freya is not impatient, but she is chaotic. And at the moment, I would say I'm playing more truly for it. It's like apparently lawful neutral, or even chaotic. But you can argue about these things, forever, and people can and do. They had debates at which they killed people in the Middle Ages over that sort of thing. So, yeah, but it's nice to hear that you guys can sort of debate. What's the word? Carefully and politely.
It's only a game after all.
Right, guys, if I remember rightly, you had just killed a scorpion here.
We'd still killed baby scorpion, and there was skittering from other places.
There's noise from down this corridor that way, and from this way. That way, and down that way.
Yeah, so we have Ominous Maw Scorpion. They're not impossible to kill, but they're very dense, but they're very dumb. So I think we'd set up a scorpion slaughterhouse. What do you think?
It's encouraging them to come to us, but then there's stuff both ways. So wherever we do, we'll potentially encourage stuff in both directions.
Well, maybe we go back to where we killed Mum, and we put a small blockage and we kill them with missiles.
I.e. you.
If anyone can use a bow, we have a bow and 12 arrows.
I can't use a bow.
I think I can.
Mr. Lómeril, I would be surprised if an elf fighter couldn't use a bow. Well, I believe we have a masterwork.
Elves get automatic proficiency with those.
We could get a few old tables. I don't think I've seen much furniture.
And a longsword, for that matter.
Build a barricade and somehow attract them to us and just slaughter them.
Or we could just go one way or the other and see what's there. Don't assume.
Okay, how about I sneak down and have a look?
That's a good idea. That's what you're here for.
I sneak down towards APN.
It's dark. I can tell you that for a fact.
These guys have some light, so I would say this is in the penumbra of the low light, and I have low light vision.
You can probably make out a scorpion-like creature there.
One or two?
It seems to be a singular.
Okay, I will care for that. Appears to be a scorpion in that room. So I'm going to have the other one.
Yeah, go for it.
I pause briefly by this door to examine it.
As I only rolled a 10, Howard, I'm not going to make you roll a stuff, but you might want to consider it.
Well, we did just kill its brother with lots of yelling, grunting, and smashing. So if it didn't notice that and come out, the chance of it noticing me creeping up and having a look at it.
That's why it needed to get quite high. It's not that bothered. You're creeping down here, yeah?
Examine that door briefly, and I peer around the corner.
You think round the corner there's another one there, and it doesn't look like it's actually paying an awful lot of attention, and no, it's not.
And what about the corridor going north?
Corridor turns east. Just there, it turns east, okay?
Go back, tell them. You've got one in either direction. If we are unlucky, they will all attack at once. If not, we take them one at a time. The one down here looks like it's boxed in. It has no escape, whereas the other one, corridor goes on. I think we'll take the boxed in one first, rather because there might be more than one if we go to the one at APN.
Yeah.
What do you think, guys? I could start proceeding by shooting it with a crossbow and retreating until you can get it into a position where you would be happy to flank it. For example, and I'm just going to use my character, if we had a small ambush here, and we could then attack it from two sides.
Yeah, works for me.
Okay, so I will be bait. Who wishes to be ambushed in the corridor?
I will be bait. Famous last words.
Vulf, I say, a look on his face as though quite impressed by all this strategy.
Mr. Vulf, would you like to take front center, or would you want? Are you going to ambush him?
Front center.
Okay, I will attract
The only
its
heroic
attention by
way to be.
shooting it, and then I will retreat back past you, keeping its attention. And I hope greatly that you will assist it from not eating.
Lómeril, where do you want to be?
Ambush or front dead center.
Dead center with a bow so I can get a shot off.
Okay.
I'll have my hand axe and my throwing axe ready to, if it comes around the corner, to chuck at it.
I sneak up to just where I can see it, and I try my best surprise attack with a crossbow to shoot it. I take all the time in the world to aim and smack it, hopefully somewhere where it hurts. Are there any bonuses for sort of taking aim?
No, but you might be able to. You can probably get a sneak on it, though.
Can I use my rogue sneak?
Just has to be not acted / flat-footed.
Yes, you have to have done a stealth up to it.
I can
Well,
stealth.
within 30 feet.
So I will stealth up. That is what it requires. Oh, fuck it. I'm not very stealthy, but then I'm bait, so this is absolutely fine. I make a lot of... I accidentally drop something very loud as I'm approaching.
You get to about there,
A natural one, and it sees me, and I then run.
it then scutter in your general direction. Then roll initiatives.
My initiative.
I have a ready action, so when it comes around the corner to throw my axe. Is that reasonable?
Initiative guns.
4. I'm rolling badly today. Get the crap ones out.
So Lómeril got 17.
10.
23.
So Jestix was 21. So Tim, what's Jestix?
10.
10. And it was 23 for Vulf. Okay, so Vulf is actually going to go first, and then you go on to hold or whatever delay, ready action.
Yeah.
Next to go will be the Scorpion itself, who can
Get close on this.
move 8 squares.
Speedy boy.
It will get right up to Freya and then go for the attack, and I believe Vulf wanted to do something.
Smack it, please.
Yeah, throw my axe.
I cocked up the sneak. This is where the game mechanics pain.
Roll a d20, see what I get from there. It's going to be around 13, possibly less.
AC 13.
Yeah.
You need to do better than that.
Okay, well, it bounces off its chitinous armour then, I guess.
Okay, well, it will do
Chitinous armor, well done.
a singular claw attack against you because it's moved.
Oopsie.
Luckily, I've already just rolled the 20, but it rolled a 19, so I think that is probably going to be a hit, because your AC would need to be 21.
My AC is 13, I'm afraid.
It will do you 4 points of damage,
Ouch.
and a grapple attack hit with a claw. Strength modifier, dex modifier for grapple check, whichever is better.
My dex would be better. Opposed roll
Opposed grapple roll. Yours is based on strength, though.
might be strength.
It's always strength, but because the Scorpion's got the improved grab feat, they can use either strength or dex.
Scorpion can do either, you can't.
I think just got 21.
I can't actually do better than 21, I don't think. I got a 16. I got -1. I did well, but not very well.
Right, so you have been grappled. Don't think it actually makes any difference at this moment in time. Just as I said, you have to try to escape. Next go, if you're still grappled, it just gets auto damage on you.
I'm not actually pulling it back into our killing zone.
Lómeril.
Oh dear, the boss is being waved around like a flag.
Like a flag. Saying shoot, shoot.
Yeah, I am saying shoot.
Shoot the hobbit.
Yeah, it's a gnome.
Try to shoot the scorpion. He's in 17, so I think that's 90. I don't know if it's is it a normal bow or a mush?
Afterwork.
Gives you another +1.
20. What damage?
-4 because firing into combat / grappling.
16.
16, still hit.
Is there a science or a science benefit because it's a gnome in the claw of a giant socket?
It's just a straight negative.
Damage for an arrow?
What bow is it?
Long.
D8.
D8.
1.
Tickled it.
1 point of damage.
Jestix.
Well, it hasn't arrived yet, so I don't yet know that it's all gone hideously wrong.
You might have heard the squeak of Freya, though. Okay, so you got to stay on hold for the moment.
Yeah.
Freya, you can try to escape, which would be an opposed grapple check, or escape artist if you've got it.
Good question. I don't think I have escape artist.
What, a thief with no escape artist?
Well, escape artist I have +2, and if it's opposed strength, I'm at -1, so I'll use my +2 escape artist.
It's an opposed. The opponent uses grapple. Use either grapple or escape artist.
And I'll use escape artist. I don't think I have a grapple at all. in terms of skill.
Well, you do have a default grapple, but it's not very good.
A 15.
Oh, and it gets a 3, so it's got a 5, so you make it and you wriggle out.
Okay, I wriggle out, and if I can use my move without attracting an attack? Can I back off 5 feet?
I think so.
That is the plan. I'm backing off as fast as I can. Well, quite frankly, if I can break off and run at this point without attracting attention.
Attack of opportunity.
I think if you do a full move, you do provoke.
I will do a full move. Oh, hang on. If I get a full move, I do.
You provoke an attack of opportunity, but I think if you make a 5-foot step, you don't.
Then 5-foot step was fine. I'm trying to stay alive here.
Withdrawing means that the square you're on doesn't count towards the thing.
Yes, but he can't withdraw because that's a full round.
So
That's what I mean. He says you had to use his attack to escape.
So it's just a 5 foot.
Yeah.
I get nearly to the corner and
I would think that Jestix might be able to see the fact that Freya is coming this way now, but I would imagine she's still going to stay on hold, aren't she?
Yeah, because it looks like the plan might be working.
So, next round, Vulf.
Freya was obviously just trying to attract his attention.
oh god, I did that. I was pretty damaged before we start. Mr. Vulf.
I charge forwards and attack the creature.
Thank you. Not quite the plan.
I want to try and hit this thing to dissuade it from going after a cute and fluffy little gnome.
Freya, you can have an attack of opportunity against Vulf as he runs by.
He did call me cute. I might have to take him out for that.
I've seen a picture. Definitely cute.
But I'm not sure about fluffy.
Don't know about hair. It's pretty fluffy.
Yeah, pretty damn fluffy. So 12, 15, 17 to hit.
That'll
10 damage.
Okay, it's still there. It is grievously hurt, but it's still there. Okay, it's now the Scorpion's go, and there seems to be an individual who can do its full round against, so it will. Joy, Pete, that'll be a hit. So that'll be 19 probably.
Well, I've got an AC of 17, so I'm suggesting it's probably going to hit.
So that's one claw. The second claw misses you, and it will try to sting you.
Not sting me.
But that's only one, so it's a miss.
Hurrah!
You get a claw, 5 points of damage, and then it'll try to grapple you with its claw, which will be an 18.
Let's make a grapple check, you're saying.
Yeah, it successfully got you.
It beats my grapple. I get 9.
Okay, so you're currently in its claw, and its soulless, beady eyes stare at you.
Damn beastie.
Lómeril, 17.
Drop the bow, grab up the long sword, and run down the passageway to go and help.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Should be able to have an attack.
Yes, I would think so. If you could probably do a charge together.
Well, providing you move 30. Does Lómeril move at 30 or 20?
It's a very good question. Where's move on the character? 20, because of my armor, I imagine.
Yeah, so he won't get there.
No, because you'll need to take a move action to draw, so you won't be able to get.
Not if you've got an attack bonus of 1 or higher. You can do it as a part of a move action.
Oh, okay. So then you can do a double move, which can do a charge.
Oh, yeah, I suppose so.
no, there's people in the way. You can't charge through anyone's square.
Okay, so you can't get there. Oh, sorry, you can get there, but you can't charge.
Okay.
Oh, is it a little gnome?
I'll get there.
Basically, could shove Freya aside.
And you can have an attack, yes.
What if I kick the box out of me?
Perfectly reasonable.
I'll charge up, take a step off the gnome.
Bank shot. Okay, Jestix, you go next, and you probably now see 2 of your compatriots running past.
In which case, I'll come around the corner and see what's going on, because obviously the plan's gone pear-shaped.
Yeah.
Utterly.
I don't think there's anything you can actually do, is there?
No.
Not unless you can tumble through people.
I can tumble, but I'm not going to. I'm not very good at tumbling.
Freya,
Oh, no, that's good to push out of the way. Can I shoot at it?
you're -4.
No, it's not worth it. These two got their backs to me. Can I stand between them and illustrate? Because it just hurt.
Yeah, but I think you'd need to make a spellcraft roll just to make sure you don't include your compatriots.
That would be very bad, possibly terminal.
Very funny, though. So how did the campaign end, then?
The gnome colour sprayed the fight while they're in combat.
Considering this is the first time Freya has done this, the party may wish to acquire some dark sunglasses.
This is not the first time I've done this, surely.
Yeah, that's what he said. Or break her fingers.
The Tim-approved method.
Guys, incoming spell. I'm spraying him. It's only a 9. Probably not enough for a spellcasting roll. It wasn't a cover, but it wasn't excellent.
I think that means your compatriots are included.
Roll the saves for everyone.
I think it's reasonable to give them a bonus on their will saves, as they are not technically looking in the same direction.
Yeah, and I'm firing from their kneecaps at it and something in front of it.
I give you +4 on your will saves.
And that's the problem. Instead of going forward, you're going up.
So +4 at. So which roll do I?
No, you don't. The other.
They have to make a +4 willpower.
You've got a DC by your spell.
Willpower saving throws, eh? Yes. The natural enemy of the barbarian.
Yes.
Well,
I think you probably made it, Pete.
if I get +4,
If that hadn't got the +4 in it.
Step 4 warning.
What's your Howard? Do you know what it is?
DC 15.
I failed him.
How's that 15?
That's pretty good.
For a first level spell? Good lord, man.
I'm quite good.
Oh yeah, because Gnome. They're good at illusions.
So you've just taken the front line of fighters out. Have you taken...
Lómeril got 16. You rolled 12 and got +4.
no,
12 total.
3.
Damn. Have I taken out the Scorpion as well?
He's just knocked you unconscious again, I think.
Yeah, well done.
Wait, how many hit dice?
2.
Unconscious for Jimbo.
What about Vulf?
Yeah, the Scorpion's the one I'm worried about.
We're also cautious as well. He failed.
They both failed.
Well, I did roll a natural 1.
I'm not good at them.
Something tells me that you lot might want to have a talk with your gnome. Right, it's a 2-hit dice creature, so it falls unconscious too.
Okay, so I will go in and kill it while stamping on the gnome.
Okay, kill it. We make sure it's utterly dead, and then I bring the boys round.
Roll some damage, Tim.
If you're doing a coup de grace on it, you should get critical damage, and it has to make a saving throw.
Does he have to roll to hit?
No.
What is critical damage? Double damage.
Yeah, it depends on your weapon, but you often double, but it can be more.
Quarterstaff.
Yeah, double. So it's doubled everything, so double his strength as well.
Yeah, 8, 16.
It is dead and it failed its saving throw.
Okay, I bring the boys round with a glass of wine.
A few rounds later, 4 rounds later, you two wake up. But then there's a couple of rounds of blindness, isn't there?
Couple of rounds of blindness, then D4, then stand for a round.
I can't see!
It'll come back in a moment. Scorpion's gone.
While they're moaning, I'll go and have a look around the room the Scorpion was in.
I'll look after them and just keep an eye for the other Scorpions coming up behind us, and also grab the mule just so it's slightly closer. And we explain to the boys, I let a grenade off.
Again.
Whoa, that was really bright.
Unfortunately, there's no reason.
The gnome has 2 hit points.
Yeah, so you should have gone the other way.
I don't think that easy. It had roiled me, gentlemen. I'm sorry. I hope that your heads recover in a moment. Have more beer.
Well, all's well that ends well, I suppose, but yeah, maybe not do that again.
Okay, Jestix, it's reasonably obvious that this piece of corridor here is a newer construction than the one you have just left.
Yeah, this is original complex. This is something someone's added on more recently.
Yes.
But there aren't any doors in there.
No, there is a mosaic
Mosaic. What's it a mosaic of?
showing a vague humanoid shape on the floor.
Clean it up a bit while I'm waiting.
The figure seems to be a kind of crude bear with kind of insect bits.
A crude bear with insect bits.
Yeah, like insect wings.
Oh, right, insect.
It looks a bit like a giant kind of crude bear with insects, kind of mandibles and things.
Oh,
Sort of a bear covered in some sort of bug thing.
Yes.
Bear bug, perhaps.
Now,
bugbear.
Yes, something like that. It does look a bit weird.
Well,
Owlbears are more beaky.
more owlish.
Do you by chance have stoneworking or knowledge dungeoneering?
No.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, okay, and then I'll come back and wait for Fria to explain to my companions why she shot them in the face.
Actually, it wasn't in the face.
It was in the back.
in the kneecaps.
Whilst they were defending her from the beast.
There's a large amount of some kind of big fawn-like creature that would probably be very tasty.
Extra issue tonight, lads.
Yeah, get up well. Supplement the rations.
Okay, so you two come around, your eyes start to readjust.
I'll spend the requisite time just to get used to life again and finish bracing Fria. We don't need to do that too many times. Say, one of you priestly types or woodlandy types got any curing? Have you used it all up today?
Used it all up today, I think.
I still got some.
Those claws were big.
You look even worse than I do, and I don't feel well.
Get 8 points back, Pete.
Ooh, thank you. Feel re-energized.
What would you like to do next, guys?
Well, there's another one at the other end. Why don't we send a gnome to colour spray it first?
Ah, the alternative strategy.
That does sound quite good, but we can't afford to have a bingy.
No, I certainly can't afford to be eaten again. I'm rather unwell.
We can make a noise and see if we can attract it around the corner, and then sort of shoot things at it until it dies.
That would be the ideal. You have just made quite a bit of noise. I don't think they're hearing, so I think we just throw something down there to attract its attention and shoot it as it approaches.
Gnome throwing?
Have you realised anything about the dangers of suggesting that?
No, I know the dangers of everything being around a gnome, so it doesn't make any difference. I've seen it repeatedly. He keeps shooting the fighters in the face.
Do you have colour spray? Not colour spray, dancing lights.
I do.
Good. Well, I suggest if it doesn't react too much to noise, maybe some dancing lights might attract it. And if we all stay here-ish, we can then A, ambush it, and B, shoot things at it. So if you send the dancing lights down to here...
I'm just getting over my anger at the moment, but yeah, if you get set up, I'll be with you in a moment.
That way you don't have to go down there.
Okay, I take a moment and I put a dancing light. I can move the lights, can't I?
Yes, that's one of the advantages of them.
So I shall put them as far down here as possible to attract it into sight and illuminate it.
And then bring it back up again.
Yeah, that's quite reasonable. I think it...
I don't have to bring it towards us. Once it's in range and illuminated, I will try and keep it where it is. If it sees us and advances, I will keep it illuminated.
It comes round the corner, and what are you lot doing?
Throwing things at it.
Okay, so you're not hiding or anything like that?
I am hiding, because I haven't got anything to throw at it.
Vulf is here. Lómeril, where are you going to be?
Where I was.
But then you can't see it to shoot it, probably.
Well, I'm assuming he's going to rush up that tunnel in like one round. The last one moved really fast, so I'm just not going to bother.
It'll be in the centre of you straight away, yes.
That's if it sees us. If I can keep it moving around down there for a round distracted, I shall.
Okay, so we use the initiative we've already got, so Vulf, you can go first.
I'm going to wait for it to get a bit closer. It's a bit too far for me to throw it. Anyway, so readying it when you get to 10 feet away, lob.
It'll be somewhere there, won't it?
Okay, when it comes into close range, lob.
Okay,
16 to hit.
that's a hit.
Or if it close range, the other guys with prepared actions might be able to shoot it as well before then. But as long as we all shoot it.
Actually, that's a good point. I would suggest you've all got prepared actions, so yes.
The moment it's in range for Lómeril or does Jestix have a ranged weapon?
No.
Okay, Dave, I did 6 damage with my throwing axe.
We'll go in order of initiative, so Vulf, then it will be Lómeril.
Are you saying I can have both shots and then be ready for close combat?
Yes.
Okay.
This is your delayed action from the previous round.
All right, that's what I did. So 17.
That's a hit.
That's 8 points of damage.
It's dead. Good strategy this time, and you got it.
High five the elf.
I shall wander and examine that door.
This door. A reasonably large, ornate double door. It's quite old, but it's a better quality, newer than most of the other doors you've seen so far.
Do we want to go and check out that thing's lair, just in case there's some fun, guys? Or should we go through the door and do the lair later?
Do the lair now, because we've already cleared it.
Yeah.
I'll sweep down to there and have a look.
Okay, you find some remains of creatures, but nothing else.
The idea of the double door, the corridor going off in every direction.
And a suspicious looking mosaic over here, apparently.
Yeah, I saw that. It looks like some sort of bear. I will check if it is locked and check for traps. Okay. Not necessarily in that order.
Roll which you're going to be first.
This is detect traps. So this is just a search. Natural 15, I think that's a 20. That's not very good, actually. It's trap.
You don't detect any traps.
Then is it locked?
There's a keyhole.
Oh, we've got some keys, haven't we? Lómeril, did you keep the keys? Or who had the keys?
I don't remember having keys.
We found some keys in one of the earlier rooms, and somebody picked them up. Maybe it was Jestix.
Or you.
Or me. They were on a high hook. So I don't remember it being me, but if it was me, then I will try the keys.
None of these keys fit this keyhole.
Not on my list.
It does look quite an ornate hole. So it looks like it would take an ornate key.
Okay, but is it locked? It has a keyhole, but is it locked? Give it a very gentle push.
The door moves.
Okay, I think it's open, guys. I'm going to back off and let you guys explore. I back off and cover them with my crossbow. So I'm kind of at the corner covering them with the crossbow.
Okay, who's opening the door? Vulf?
Yeah, I'll open the door. Best make sure everybody's ready.
This chamber is lit by a continual flame spell on the ceiling. There seems to be the sound of movement in this room, but you can't see what it is. It's quite a large room, which I'll fill in a second. 2 massive square pillars, almost 10 feet by 10 feet, form the centre of the ceiling of this wide chamber. Beautiful silk curtains drape from the walls, and equally lavish woolen carpets, red and gold, adorn the floors.
Lavish carpets.
Throughout the chamber, old but serviceable wooden furniture can be found. A divan here, a bureau there, an old throne, credenza,
Some of the first furniture we've seen.
Yeah, a massive sumptuous bed, a marble bathtub,
Nice little place.
silver-plated rack for hanging towels. The place is spick and span and clean, but doesn't feel like anyone lives.
Got an unseen servant. Sounds almost like an illusion to me.
Well, you're the expert on said things.
Peer around for these movements, see if I can see what made me suspicious about movement.
Coming around the pillar, about when you were saying what was that movement, you see a dumpy kind of potato thing on wheels holding a feather duster.
A not unseen servant.
It's a scene servant.
Relax. Hello.
Doesn't say anything.
Walk towards it.
That could be what's keeping our former wizard's lair spick and span, but we watch it carefully.
Yep, wondering, trying to ascertain what it is a bit more. Is it some sort of summon demony thing?
A spell of some sort.
Well, it's kind of floating thing with wings, so it could be demony, yes.
Potato thing.
Yeah, it's a kind of clumpy kind of thing with wings. Now you look a little closer, it has tiny little horns.
It's an imp.
You don't usually think of it being dumpy.
Knowledge arcana?
Yes.
Do you know what it is? Or spellcraft to see if I can see what sort of spell it is?
Someone could make a roll, yeah.
Is it knowledge arcana or something?
Yes.
Larval stage of the Sontarans, perhaps.
What? Torrance, it's a...
Doctor Who reference.
Only an 11 on my spellcraft.
No, you don't really recognise what it is.
I've not seen one of those.
Knowledge dungeoneering, if anyone's got that, could have a roll.
Knowledge engineering?
Dungeoneering.
Such a creature, my bardic knowledge.
Yes, you can try bardic knowledge.
13, I think.
Nah, it's not fair enough.
You to me.
Anyway, it doesn't pay any attention to you. It just kind of potters around the room.
Wow. In which case, let's go and have a look around.
I'm going to very ungraciously charge into the room and leap full spread onto the
Then do a big flop.
then realise it's a mimic and scream.
Or an illusion and go crashing to the floor.
Dave looks up bed of devouring.
There's lots of furniture in here, basically. It's a room is full of stuff.
I think we get everyone in, close the door, when we search the place.
Yep.
The creature just potters around the room, dusting, doesn't seem to take an awful lot of notice of you lot.
That's why it's pristine in here. You left an unseen servant on tick over. Love the flames on the roof. I feel like we're being in a barbecue.
Unseen servants only last an hour 11.
I suggest we carefully search them.
Yeah, see who might have lived here.
Close the door, save on oil. This is going to be a good base for operation. We've got beds and bars, places to sit.
An accusing thing.
I've still got this Hobbit's ring to examine.
Adventuring party, honey trap.
It is.
Cleans up who the meal's just done. Okay, so search the room, eh?
Yes. Quite frankly, if we feel safe, I'm really tempted to break out the rations and the rest because we still don't quite know what the ring that Hobbit did. We got from Hobbit. I think we've got some magic items that haven't yet been determined.
But haven't you already had a go at the ring?
I'm trying to remember if I haven't failed or whatever.
Okay, so you come in here, close the doors, potter around, search the place. What's the level of searching are you doing?
Detailed. Take 20.
Okay, so you're going to take 20, and it's going to take quite a long time to search this room.
I'm just going to wander around aimlessly and poke at things, doing a normal, just a roll.
Yeah, so we'll have 3 or 4 search rolls from Jestix, and if you get a high number, you might see something. We'll have a search roll from Lómeril, just because, and Vulf.
Vulf is also be searching, but same as Jestix, just poking around.
So maybe 4 search rolls, and if you get anything reasonable, tell me.
Can I take 20?
Yes, but it basically is going to be a few hours searching at that rate.
I got an 18 and a 17.
18 was my highest.
18 from me.
I think the silver ring we found was magical.
No, it wasn't.
With a small sapphire, approximately 50 gold.
We didn't think it was because it was tarnished.
Okay, Jestix.
Ah.
Yeah, yes.
Lying on a tabletop is a flat wooden box inlaid with mother of pearl inscribed with a floral design. It's a writing box. Lifting the lid, you see a sheet of very fine vellum.
Take it out and
3 small bottles of ink, blue, black and red, and 6 very useful quill pens.
Wow, that's better than mine.
is there anything written on the vellum?
That almost makes it more valuable than my book.
Okay, Vulf, underneath the bed you find a blue velvet bag about the size of a man's head, a large roll of very fine silken thread. It's light beige colour and pleasant to the touch.
Not really my colour. Added to the mule of carrying.
Looks like you could knit or spin it into something.
Well, someone could.
Somebody could.
It might be ideal for a magic bell of some sort, so...
It's quite fine quality, but it's not anything.
Yeah, so you can make a fancy dress or something out of it.
Yeah.
That'd be quite a large, to actually weave with it would be tons of it. Yep, that's good for. And then detect magic in.
Yep, we'll deal with that in a moment. Lómeril, you find a hollow plaster statue of a fat merchant laughing. You rattle it a bit and there's some coins in it, and you find that the bottom can just be a plug and it comes out, and there's 12 gold coins in it.
It's a piggy bank.
And it's got 3 pea-sized green stones.
Yeah, that's all right.
I hope somebody's documented that, Howard.
What was that last treasure?
It's a hollow plaster statue piggy bank of a fat merchant with big ears.
Has it got anything in it?
Yes, it's got 12 gold coins and 3 pea-sized green gemstones. It's about 6 inches or so high.
I suggest that we all just take 4 gold just to have in our pockets just in case. It's not enough that we have to hoard it, so there's 12 here for us. Let's just split it up.
All right.
I won't put that in party treasure, that's down to individuals.
Okay, so yes, the room is sumptuous. There are pots and pans for cooking, but there doesn't seem to be any obvious place to cook. Although there's a nice bath, there doesn't seem to be any obvious place to water to come out.
We expected magically to be able to create it.
Yeah.
So a wizard of some sort.
Okay, so you're doing a detect magic. Is that before or after?
After I've done my search, I've finished my search.
What is your search plus 20, Howard?
My search, I think, will be 26. Double check. No, 25. It's going to take a while to search this thing. To do a fingertip search of this place, it will take a while.
I hope that bed is very big.
We've got continual light in. We've got a continual light. Just round the corner there was some edible looking meat. You've got chaise longues and divans to lounge upon. And quite frankly, I'm feeling well and truly beaten up. So an hour or two of quiet would be quite useful.
Right, you search the room starting round the outside as you probably would.
Methodically.
And eventually you get to the pillars. And you discover that this pillar has a secret slide-on panel.
Check it quickly for traps and then open it.
Okay, trap roll.
God, my rolls are crap tonight. Oh no, it's not. There's 20.
Okay, you don't think it's trapped.
I open it. I examine it carefully and think, wowza, that's a lovely piece of hiding.
But it seems that there's a round secret door on it, and you twist it round a bit and then it opens. There is a key.
Is it a big ornate key?
No, but it is distinctively different from other ones you've got.
Okay. Well, I assume everyone's just lounging around bored by now. I show them what I found, and I look to see if there's anything else in it.
It is ornate. It looks the similar sort to the big door here, but it's not that one.
Cool. Okay, well, I pocketed it.
A piece of paper written in common with some words on it. Depends whether you want to pay attention to that yet.
Oh, yeah, I will definitely do that.
Okay, it's describing a blue steel door between a room you've not been into and the moon pool room. Okay, and it says the password is Desitan. Desitan, thank you.
I note that one down.
Which is the moon pool room, Dave?
Where we first came in, isn't it?
I don't think you were here for that bit.
Okay.
Yeah. You remember the stairs coming down?
Yeah.
If you go east, there was a room there with it in.
Okay.
Do we find any other treasures other than... Yeah, there's lots of lootable stuff in here if we were to really loot, but...
Another piece of paper written in another language. Anyone want to tell me any languages they might read?
Dwarvish.
No, it's not Dwarvish. Anyone could speak any other languages? So read and write?
Languages. Common, Dwarvish, Elvish, Gnome, Goblin.
No.
Common Druidic.
No.
Can't find languages.
Barbarians aren't supposed to know languages.
Yeah, I can speak common.
Draconic,
Barbarian bard, so I'm not illiterate.
So Pete was Lómeril?
common, draconic, elven, and goblin.
Ah, it's Draconic.
Oh, excellent.
Wow, yeah, interesting. Go back to sleep.
I thought you'd be reading the cleric book.
I'm enjoying having a bed. I'll get back to reading the book when I wake up.
You know it's Draconic, but you can't bother to look it up. No problem. There's also another kind of crudely stayed together pieces of paper. You know, like when people stick a hole and they put a string through.
Notes, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a whole raft of odds and sods of random pieces of sized paper that are written in either common or Draconic. And it contains things like, remember to get bat's wings, milk and eggs,
I will look through them just in case there's any further clues.
16 round to it, and basically it's just a long list of various things. Remember to all sorts of rubbish like that. There's a pile of. Doesn't seem to have any relevance to anything.
And he keeps these in a secret compartment.
Yeah.
Weird.
A potion bottle, a scroll.
With potions?
There's 2 potion bottles, in fact, and a scroll.
Okay, does anybody want to have a look, or shall I carry on evaluating these?
Could you roll me a appraisal roll?
I'm not the best at appraisal, but yes, that's a 9.
Okay, you think some of the furniture in this room probably could be quite valuable, but you wouldn't even hesitate to say how much.
It could be looted.
Yes, there's some of the furniture in here definitely is sellable quality.
If I had enough money to put forth the water, I'd buy that.
Okay, so now we've got. Are you going to do detect magic? Well, the 2 potions and the scroll are magical, but nothing else in this room apart from the creature floating about.
Does that include stuff on each of us as well?
So if you're carrying is magical, then yes, I would imagine it pings up.
Doesn't the ring ping? I thought the ring pinged.
Yes, it does. It is definitely magical. I don't think you've done a detect magic on it before.
No.
It is magical.
It is
Right.
magical, do you say?
It is magical.
It'll take a while to work out what I think these potion bottles scrolls are, but now is the safest time. We've got a bed, we've got food, we've got flames. I'm going to do it unless we are desperate to move on. And also, is anybody able to give me a cure? Because I'm starting to feel like shit after being shaken around like.
I believe you get to roll a spellcraft roll on the magical things you spotted to see what schemes they are.
You can't take 20 on spells. You just have to roll it.
You've got the ring, you've got 2 potions, and you've got a scroll.
Yes, so let's do the ring first. So it's spellcraft, and is it something I take 20 or do I have to roll?
You have to roll for it.
That's a 10 plus 5 on my spellcraft 15.
15's not enough.
15 plus spell level.
It is magical, but we don't know what.
Yes, it's faintly magical.
I put it on.
You put it on, okay.
Unless anyone else wants it.
So it wasn't a ring, was it? It was a bracelet.
Yes, the ring was tarnished. It was,
Oh, the ring was tarnished, so the bracelet.
and I've got the bracelet.
Yeah, but you still, that was right, you hadn't done a detect magic on it.
No, I put the bracelet in my pocket because everybody was going, oh, we did do a detect magic on it. We used magic, but we failed the spellcraft, and nobody's willing to do anything, so I just shoved it in my pocket.
Right, okay, so that's done.
Potions?
You need a 25 on a spellcraft check. So unless you got plus 5.
I have plus 5, but I would have to take 20.
But you can't. You only get 1 shot at it per level or something.
Wow. So I have very little chance on 25 to really work out what it is.
You'll identify 1 in 20 items.
Yep.
I think you are able to take 20 on potions.
Then I should like to, because that's about my only chance of success.
Try again, see above, it says. Okay, some of these spellcraft things it says no retry, but for identify a potion it requires 1 minute, no retry. There you go. So therefore, it'll take a minute, you get a roll, and that's it. You don't get to take 20.
Okay, so go for it.
Potion number 1, that's crap, that's a 4, so it's a 9. Not a hope, unless it's really easy and it's written on the outside.
No.
And the number 2 is, I'm rolling so crap, that's a 1. I rolled a natural 1 on potion number 2.
Okay, so you don't recognise either of those, and then there's the scroll.
Okay, is the scroll something I can take 20?
Yeah, you use free magic.
Which is
Like without using read magic, and that's 20 plus spell level.
I have read magic.
you just know, I think, isn't it?
I think so.
It's a 0th level spell. Take one of my 0th level tokens and I read magic.
I'm just double checking, but I think you can just read it.
Seems what it is suited for.
Yeah, it says read spells and spellbooks.
Allows you to recognise glyphs of warning, any symbols.
It's a scroll that allows me to identify glyphs of warning.
No, read magic does.
Oh, okay.
Being able to recognise glyphs of warning is actually something you should consider.
So what's the spell?
It is a scroll of blur.
Blur. Excellent.
20% mischance.
Can anybody use magical scrolls? Can anyone do it, or it needs the ability?
It's an arcane scroll, if I remember rightly, and so you can read it.
It's in my ability to set it up and use it on me. Is it me or someone else?
I think it's touch.
So level 2 spell, so by default you can't actually cast it without a spellcraft roll, if I remember rightly.
Cast a level check.
I'm only 1.
Yes, you can cast it, but you need to make a roll to cast it.
If he fails the roll, does the scroll fade?
I think the scroll gets wasted.
Yes, I think it does.
Okay, well, there you go, guys. Some magical treasure. You could probably sell that for a lot.
If cast on someone, grants the subject concealment, 20% mischance.
I'll hang on to it just in case I need it. Of people needing concealment note, I suspect I will, but unless anyone actually wants it.
It's the sort of thing that's useful in a fight.
The problem is the rest of us probably can't cast it.
It doesn't make you harder to see, Howard. It makes you harder to hit.
Excellent.
So it's the sort of thing you would cast onto one of the fighters while standing behind them rather than a colour spray.
That might work, yeah.
Yeah, I will be able to cast it at some point. I just can't cast it yet.
Okay, so I will hang on to that one for later use, and that's about it, isn't it? Disappointing, considering such a rich room, disappointing little money. Yeah.
Useful spell there.
Right.
We've rested and whatever.
I'm going up to the gnome. I'll say, shut your eyes and receive a blessing.
Okay.
I'll cast Cure Light Wounds by poking my 2 fingers into her eyes. Jab. Heal.
Stop blinding me.
7. No, sorry, 8.
Yeah, that's really good. Ow, wow, thanks.
I've heard it tell, O mighty priest, that there are those amongst you who are able to exude a area of warmth and curative powers on a few occasions per day. Would you be one of those priests?
No.
Talking of which, there was there was some almost edible meat which we thought in the other room. You go and collect that and carve it and check it in the light.
So do you have turn undead? A certain number of uses per day.
Yes.
Then you might want to read up on that.
I might not want to read up on it, but I thought it was undead.
Yeah, channel positive energy, it should be. And that means that there's usually 2 ways that you can use it. One to blast undead and one to cure your fellow compatriots.
I don't think that's happens in this. That's a Pathfinder special.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it is a nice Pathfinder mod, but it's not in.
Guys, we've rested, we've eaten.
You can have an extra 4 hit points. I'll use my 0 levels to give you
4 hit points. Thank you.
Shall we go and explore onwards?
Since you're the major meat shield of the party.
Certainly the one who flings himself into the most danger.
Yes.
What stands in front of the gnome? It's the most dangerous part of the party, as far as I can see.
As far as I can tell, it doesn't matter where you stand around the gnome, it's dangerous.
Yep, that seems fair. So, shall we crack on?
Well, there's this door here we haven't been through yet.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. So, shall we go and investigate that, Mr. Jestix?
Yep.
I might have to call you Madge.
Okay, so you open the door, yeah?
I don't care what you call me, so long as you don't colour spray me.
Okay, right, guys. I would suggest a listen check might be useful at this moment.
Okay. As I said, we're expecting a few more stories.
Anyone, if you've got a listen skill, roll a d20 now.
You all have listen skills.
Oh, God. That's my 3rd one of an evening.
7.
8.
No.
Wait. Oh, yeah, I screwed that one up.
Okay, so all of you fail.
Mm-hmm. We just stumble out,
Okay.
ignoring the fact there's probably hundreds of things out there.
Unbeknownst to you, a whole pack of rats have been munching away this scorpion. They hear you lot, come round the corner and are swarming towards you at this moment in time.
Big rats, small rats.
Tiny little rats as a big swarm.
I suggest we get back behind the door.
So we'll have some initiative first, shall we?
Well, we do have a long way to run.
Oh yeah, you might be able to escape.
And they're only little.
But there's lots of them.
And they're all in full scurry mode.
Actually, that doesn't mean they can run fast. Literally, they're just more dangerous.
5.
14.
19.
Oh.
No, sorry, 18. 18.
I got 8.
Lómeril?
14.
Basically, they all get to go first. I'm going to use this creature for it.
Even with me on an 18.
You didn't notice them, have you? So they basically rush towards you lot. They're going to go 3 squares. So actually, they get to there. You notice them, then they continue down the corridor another 3 squares. Why are you all in the corridor? You're all in the corridor, so yeah?
We were, yeah. And then the idea is
Yeah, but you've got a leg back. Now it's back round to ordinary rounds. Freya goes first on 18.
there isn't a way I can do the rats with a colour jersey without getting somebody else, is there? From where I'm standing?
Yes, you can. You can move forward and do it.
I could. Okay, if I move right next to Vulf and spray them, I'm not going to get Vulf from the guys, am I?
No.
This is an ideal use for it. I shall blast them.
Yes, you appear to be a bit too trigger happy.
I am. Definitely. This is one of the reasons I left my gnomish village.
They were too scared of you.
He kept blinding everybody.
I wanted to blow stuff up and have much fun. Rather than sitting there half-making stuff with my hammer. Bugger that.
Freya goes to here.
Yep, there's my first level spell token day, sitting out in the middle.
Cool. What's the range of
15 foot.
15 foot, so yes, they will be within the range. It's a saving throw, isn't it?
Will save.
DC 15.
DC 15 will save, and then it will be how many hit dice? Yes?
4 hit dice. Surely they're all, everything in there is an individual rather than a swarm.
It doesn't work like that, Howard, but you do succeed, so they fail their will saving throw. They have 4 hit dice creatures. They're still blind. They're still stunned, are they?
Stunned and blinded for D4, then stunned for D4. No, just stunned for 1 after that.
They're not unconscious, but they are stunned. They're stunned for 2 rounds. And are they currently blinded as well?
Probably. How many of them?
Or the whole swarm at the moment, Howard. And stunned is what?
Can't do anything.
Okay, they can still move.
I think it can't take any actions. Yeah, drops everything held, can't take actions, -2 to AC, loses dex.
Okay, so you basically stunned them for 2 rounds, guys.
Roughly how many of them are there?
There's hundreds of them, Howard.
I'm going to grab the mule and escape up towards room 13, gentlemen.
Next to go is Lómeril.
Going back into the room would be better, but never mind, you'll have to follow the boss.
The boss hasn't moved yet.
Get trapped in there. I suppose it lasted quite a long while and the rats might go away.
I follow the gnome.
Grab the mule and let's run.
Are you legging it up the corridor?
Yes.
Right, you could easily get into the room there.
Take the mule.
The rats, they can't act. It's both next.
Oh, look at the stunned rats. Okay, I think moving away from them, I shall take out my musical instrument.
So where are you going to?
I'm going to move up the corridor with the others as well.
Okay, I'll move yourself then.
Move 40.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, it'll be about there.
That's 40, is it? Okay.
Oh, sorry, 8 squares. Okay.
You said half move.
Yeah, 40 is a half move, rather than 80.
Jestix.
Follow the crowd.
Who's got the mule?
Well, it looks like I have.
Yeah.
It could be me dragging a mule up the hill. Let's go. Yeah.
Right, okay. So, Jestix, where you go?
I'm following the crowd down into the room down here with the dog.
Okay, so what's your move?
My move is 30.
So you could double move into the room. Assume you do that.
Yeah.
Leaving Freya behind. Alright, so beginning of the next round, Freya, what you do?
Grab the mule, drag it at full double move as fast as I can go up to where the boy is.
What's your move?
It's only 20.
So that's 4 squares.
I'm running as fast as I can.
So you can get to the mule and you can drag it up into the corridor.
Yes. So I'm running like hell.
Okay, and then it will be Lómeril. What are you lot going to do in this room?
Watch the impending rat fest.
Is there a door that can shut behind us?
There's a door into the main area and there's a door into the room with the lion on the ceiling.
Which we kicked in.
That's right, actually, the door into the room with the lion is been kicked in.
Oh.
This is a secure door here. Or did you kick that one in too?
Okay, I run to that door, step through, and then prepare to shut it.
Okay, so the rats are now on their second round of being inactive. Vulf?
I delay, basically, because I know that the gnome's behind, so I will start strumming.
Okay, Jestix.
Go through the door.
That'll be your full action. And then it's back round to the beginning of the round, and I'm assuming we're going to continue.
Running is definitely my best option. I will continue to run towards the only secure door which doesn't trap me in here.
The measurements are right. You get halfway into the room, about there-ish. Then the rats have their action.
They also get stunned for 1 more time. It's blinded and stunned for D4, then an extra 1.
Blinded doesn't mean you can't actually see, but it does mean that
Still stunned.
they're still stunned. They stay there. Okay? So, Vulf, the rats have not so far come round the corner.
I am waiting for Fria to escape.
Jestix is there, so back round to the beginning of the round. Freya, you can easily get through there in that next time period.
Yep.
Okay.
As we do. What are we going to do about these things? Can we fight them?
I have a plan.
Excellent. We'll join in.
The rats are no longer stunned. I suppose they can move half, can't they? Get to there. Then Vulf.
I'll keep a beady eye on the rats. If they start to head down the corridor, then I will start to play and try to fascinate them.
Good idea. If you wait, basically, they will eventually start coming up this way. They're currently blinded.
We can fascinate them while they're blinded.
Yep, alright. Try to fascinate them. The idea is the Pied Piper effort, and they're no longer writing. To try and basically fascinate them so that they follow me, and then I will lead them off somewhere well away from us lot. Outside, perhaps, because I believe that there's some stairs that lead pretty close to the entranceway, like these ones.
Or you could lead them into one of the other rooms and shut the door on them.
There is that, yeah, they may go down to the trash pit and have some fun there. That was option 2.
Okay, so roll your Fascinate. What's that against?
So Fascinate is
Well, will save.
DC for affected creatures will serve against the effect. If the creature serves as seed, can't attempt to gain fails if this requires the song, taking no other actions. But you could, I suppose, if you wanted to, so that they follow me, because that is, precedent has been set for that sort of thing. But I'll make a perform roll with my loot, which is not good as the other ones. So 13 is the DC of the save.
And they fail. Assuming it was a will.
It is.
Yeah, they fail.
Okay. Well, the general idea then is to, I can't see easily on this map the stairs that lead out to the outside.
No, it's up this passageway here, down that way and across.
It's miles back sort of thing.
How long does Fascinate last for?
As long as I keep playing, I think. Within 90 feet, see and hear the bards pay attention to me.
So there's no hit dice level on that?
No, I only affect one target there.
Okay. Well, you smash the door in there, and there's a pit.
Do we smash it or do we open it?
You smash the door.
Oh, okay.
So we'll all get out of the way and you hide pipe level.
What about this door here?
Which door?
Where my white hand is.
This door wasn't locked. You just opened it.
So we can just do that one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if you carry on playing, we'll open the door and you can lead them in there. How are you going to get out? I don't know. But
lead them in here, and then when they're all sort of in there, back out the door and shut the door is kind of the plan.
You got animal handling?
I do have animal handling, yeah. If you want me to roll that?
Yeah, I think that's an appropriate. If you succeed, then you succeed in what you're trying to do.
Okay. He rolled poorly. 5.
Okay. You find it difficult. You in this room and the rats are kind of like hovering here. You can't seem to encourage them to actually come into the room.
Okay.
They're not endangering you or endangering the rest of the party, but they just don't seem to.
Perhaps if I went further into the room and tried to climb round the side here, would that be sort of my only other option?
Yeah, but you probably can't play your loot while you're doing the climb around, but certainly you could.
Climbing with the loot.
No, I mean, I'd obviously stop looting at that point.
Okay, yeah, so you go there.
So, okay, I stand all the way back here. Hopefully one of the others will have the presence of mind to shut the door.
Yeah, if we know what you're doing. So, yeah, I kind of guess and we'll close the door.
Make another animal handling roll.
15.
Yes, they're now all in the room with you.
Any stragglers as we close the door?
Look down the vast yawning pit below me.
Yep.
Swallow. And then try to climb out here.
If we're guessing what he's trying to do, I will run to there to try and catch him or offer assistance as he swings around.
No offence, but I might need somebody with a bit more weight behind them than you, because I'll just put you into the hole.
Guys, he's trying to climb around the edge of the pit. Let's go see if we can help.
Why is he doing that?
It's the only way you get them all in the room. It's a good place to trap loads of rats.
You can do a climb or a tumble check.
Tumble strikes me as insane. I don't know what your skill is, but
Well, I've got slightly higher tumble.
I'm assuming they don't have agility. No, so it's a climb.
I need to make a climb roll.
Yeah.
Is it relatively easy?
Yes.
I have some silk rope.
If I should fail, then I'll try to grasp hold of anybody's outstretched hands.
Okay. After you've stopped looting them, how long before they come round and decide? Is it straight away? Or is there a delay?
I would imagine it just doesn't say it carries on for any time, but when I stop playing, it probably stops. But I wouldn't have thought it's an off switch. It's just sort of, it's ended. What were we doing?
Yes. Trying to eat Pete.
So sits quietly and listens to Storm, taking no actions for as long as Bard continues to play and concentrate up to a max of 1 round per Bard level.
Yeah, so actually you've done it a bit longer than you should have done, but I suppose we could have made you keep rolling Fascinate.
Is it 1 round per bard level, isn't it?
Yeah, once per day per Bard level.
So actually you couldn't have done it for all this length of time, but we'll let you get away with it just because it was fun. So, yes, you'll have to make a climb roll to get round there.
Okay, I should try to make a climb roll. Brings me up to 9.
Okay. You figure that you can't do it. You're not quite skilled enough to quickly shuffle round. The rats go, and starting next round, they will run towards you. So what are you going to do first? You got another action.
Can I have another go?
Yes. You can risk your life again.
Yeah, so I think Jestix and I are there.
it doesn't matter. It's a big enough pit to kill him.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think of anything I can do to help.
Yeah, I can try to grab hold of somebody's hand, so I'll try it again, yeah.
Yeah, I'll offer a hand.
Better than being eaten alive by rats.
Roll the climbing skill, Pete, and if you get 13, you can give +2 to him.
Oh, me.
Lómeril, you're aiding.
Jestix helping.
Jestix is the one that's there.
Oh, sorry, Jestix can do.
I need to roll a climb roll.
No, I'm the one with the climb skill.
Then Jestix, you do it.
22.
So you get plus 2 feet, you climb.
All right. Oh, wow. 23.
Okay, you successfully hop round, and Jestix pulls you into the room. Okay, the rat swarm. It makes a notice roll with a 2, so they lose track of where you went. So they all pile down into the pit, because obviously that looks tasty.
And it probably smells a bit.
And we exit stage left as quickly as possible.
There's a lot of squeaking, and they all fall, stroke, clamber down into the pit and munch on anything they can find down there.
Hobbit.
Jolly well done, Vulf.
Hurrah!
I suggest we escape while we still can.
I felt as though
Yeah.
I needed a flute rather than a lute for that. Remind me to get one when we next go back to town.
Here you go. For an excellent bit of thinking, have my flute.
You have a flute?
I have a flute.
Oh, you are blessed indeed.
I can play, but not very well.
Just one note. It might as well be a whistle.
I've got Perform 3,
You got performed through here. Well, so do I.
and I've got Perform Wind Instruments 4. So yes, but no, I haven't used it, and you're a bard. There you go. Have my flute. I'll buy another one.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I appreciate this magnificent gift.
With a little more caution than perhaps before, make our way to the door that we were going to go before we were. So kind of maintaining a rough party order so we don't get killed by passing scorpions
Or bugbears.
or bugbears. I've just thrown everyone roughly into the right area.
It's not in vaguely the right area.
I'll keep it for scuffling scorpions or lurking bugbears.
All seem to have gone quiet again. People could be suspicious. Okay, a old wooden door with a hole for a
key. Well, we had 3 keys from one room, and we found another key from. Do any of the keys I have fit?
Okay, the small ring of keys which were found here, one of them fits.
Oh, excellent.
Where did we find a small ring of keys?
It was hanging behind that door which you smashed down.
Okay.
And also, I believe you did smash this door down.
Yeah.
It also has the key for that door too.
We found the keys only too late.
When in doubt, smash it down.
Okay, I open the door. I unlock the door. I will retire to somewhere I can cover them and let them do their grand entrance.
So who opens the door?
Oh, well, I guess I will, after being bolstered by the clerics and many curing stuff.
I'll be standing ready with longsword drawn.
A small 10-foot by 10-foot room has a number of wooden pegs along the walls which hang a few cloaks.
It's the broom cupboard.
A leather coat, hat.
So whilst the gnome goes in to start pulling all the pegs to check for secret doors, I'll finally get round to reading the draconic piece of paper.
Seems fair. I search the place.
The gnome's going to go in there, I assume, and search the room, yeah?
Jestix will go in and just search randomly as he normally does.
Okay, right, so Lómeril, you're currently looking at the draconic piece of paper. Right, it describes a funny triangular room with a weird glass cylinder in the middle of it,
Oh, excellent.
and it suggests the western side has a secret door. It describes the secret door, and that you push it to the left and it clicks open.
Okay, tell everyone what's written on the paper.
We've seen that room. We'll go back there later.
I get a 17 searching the room.
Okay, so Jestix, roll your. I am just randomly looking around.
Yep, I got 17.
There's some nice leather coats. They'll keep you warm and dry. The cold night outside.
Pity we're inside.
Okay, the leather cloak looks quite wearable, Jestix, if it was to have a little bit of mending done to it. The others don't look very good to you.
Okay, well, I'll take the leather coat that needs mending, as I can, given some time, get a mending skill.
You've seen both Vulf and I do mending.
I think most of the party can do mending now. I think it's a core capability of this party. Yes, Freya, you search the room quite intently, and what you find is that one of the cloaks, which is basically moth-eaten load of rubbish falling to bits, actually has a silver clasp, which looks a bit like a flock of birds.
Oh, beautiful. That was once a nice cloak, but ain't anymore. I will take the clasp and show everyone and throw it into party treasure.
Certainly would make a nice clasp on a cloak. And that pretty much is the only things in the room.
Jestix.
Do you like that leather cloak enough to actually want it?
Yeah, I haven't got a cloak at the moment, I don't think.
Okay. I cast a mend on it.
Thank you.
Bing! That's looking a bit better. More like a smart adventurer that I like hanging out with.
It probably also needs a prestidigitation to clean it as well. But
I'm happy to mend that. Yeah, maybe later. Okay, let's push on. The corridor turns east, or it is closest. Did I ever investigate room 13, the secret doors, or, other than the bugbear thing, which, is it 13? The one with the scorpion and the bugbear on the mosaic.
no, you've not searched that area.
Okay, guys, I'm going to have a quick look down there just because I haven't. And then, you're welcome to join me, or we'll carry on up this other corridor. That's where I think we go next, but I'm just going to have a quick romp through here, just because I haven't seen this here bugbear.
So, Freya, you spend ages wandering around down here.
I'm the most boring person ever to adventure with, but we do find all the bloody secret doors. I think the guys might have already gone ahead.
No, because there's only one torch unless somebody else is going to light a torch. So what else is everybody else going to do?
I'll study the mosaic as well. I want to check out this bear of bugs a little.
Okay.
And I'm going to spend my time looking down the corridor, waiting for something to come up and attack us.
Okay, so you sit there chatting to your dog and looking both ways, I assume. And Vulf is in here looking at the mosaic. What about Lómeril?
Do I have anything else to read?
You've got the cleric's book.
Yeah, I'll continue reading the cleric's book. All this searching bores me intensely.
Freya takes 20. It's going to take a good half an hour at least to search this area. Vulf, you can probably take a 20 on some kind of knowledge if you've got it.
Okay.
I think you can't take 20 on knowledges. It's either you know something or you don't, and you can't do it by ming and ahhing for 20 times as long as you would.
Sadly, I think he's right.
Do you have any kind of bardic knowledge stuff that might be useful?
Right. So you want me to make a roll?
Yes.
9.
Some kind of weird creature, that's about as much as you know.
Okay, what I want to do is see if any of press any of the mosaics on it, whether or not anything interesting happens.
I will assume you've taken 20 on a search. You don't find anything.
That concludes my interest in the mosaic.
Not a dwarf, are you?
No.
Freya finds absolutely nothing.
That's 30 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Sorry, guys. Crack on.
Which way next?
The corridor, I suppose.
Yeah, we were exploring this sort of way.
Right, the corridor turns east, then continues north.
I need to go round the room in front of it.
Yeah, it goes this way, then goes north, and then comes out into a largest chamber.
We will progress in standard party order.
A random rabble.
Yeah, with me and the mule in the middle, I
At some point, the fighters are going to insist you go in front because it's much safer.
hope.
20 by 50.
Big room.
It's full of old bits of rotten wood.
What, from benches, chairs, that sort of thing?
Well, I'm assuming you've not spent a lot of time looking at it at the moment. Planks of wood.
I'm listening and looking for movement and danger.
We'll stand in the doorway, surveying it, see if anything comes at us, and if nothing does, then eventually we'll go in.
Nothing comes at you.
We go in.
The room is basically full of wood that's rotting.
Is it piled, stacked neatly, or is it tumbled down from the ceiling?
It's tumbled down.
So it once had a altered wooden ceiling or something?
There is not a wall there, by the way.
So, quite not.
Very quiet, dark. Your torch. This room's actually quite tall.
It once had some form of... It's not a collapsed roof, is it?
Most of the corridors around here are 15 or 20 foot tall. This room is nearly 30 foot. Okay, there's rusty nails, all sorts of stuff like that in here.
Some of which may one day be used.
I'm assuming you have only just standing here and looking down at the moment.
We will go in if nothing tries to eat us.
Nothing tries to eat you.
We will go in.
There's a bigger pile of wood here at the very end.
Right, we'll start going through it and exploring.
Anyone got any relevant crafts they would like to try on me?
Relevant craft. There's an interesting thought.
Nope.
Now, trap making, metalwork, bow making, alchemy. None of which will really help.
You can try what knowledges you might have.
Arcana and local.
Nothing there.
Okay, just have a look around.
There's a big pile of wood at the end of the room.
Cautiously approach the big pile of wood at the end. Does it look vaguely like a barricade?
No, it looks nothing like a barricade. It looks like something's collapsed.
Keep an eye on the ceiling as well. See if there's anything up there that might have caused everything to fall down, like, a large roosting bat or something.
Actually, now you look more closely, the ceiling, although it's 30 foot above you, there's actually a lip about 20 foot up.
Where there was a balcony.
Yeah, it looks like all the way around the room you can look into this room. And when you spot that, you actually spot that there's occasional holes around the balcony area.
Entrances into this room from elsewhere.
They're about 6 by 6 inches into the wall.
Murder shots.
Could be murder holes, yes, that's one valid interpretation.
Or they could be where beams or supports went for an artificial roof.
That's much more likely. Now it's been pointed out to you, that's exactly what they look like.
The beam holes and the artificial roof has basically rotted and collapsed.
Yes, and now you've worked that out, it looks remarkably like it's the remains of a staircase.
And there was a staircase going up. The staircase would go to somewhere. I would try and work out where the staircase went.
It went up to the next level.
Well, yeah, went to the balcony.
Okay, so there's a big ornate staircase going up to a lovely balcony, so that people could then look down at whatever was on this roof. Unusual.
Well, no, we've had a couple of rooms with balconies in already.
Yeah, he loves his balconies. If there were other rooms or entrances going on, they'd be 20 feet up.
Indeed.
Have a quick look around just to see if there's anything which might indicate that there is a secret door up there, but I realise that it's bloody hard, so I'm not going to even take 20. I'm just going to roll that one. Just have a good look around up there.
See if there's a way out of here towards the far end.
No, it's all quiet. Nothing much is going on.
Okay, there's no other way in or out. I really would love to find a way of joining the two rooms up. This room seems to be higher. It's all raised, isn't it?
Yes. Anyone got craft, stonework, or any of those dungeoneering type knowledge?
No, afraid not.
No.
Only what I might naturally have with craft untrained.
That's for dwarves, isn't it? Okay, are there any other ways out of this room?
Apart from trying to climb the wall now.
Climbing is not my strong point.
Okay, well, I guess we leave.
Okay, in which case, I think this whole end is a dead end. The next bit to explore is where the rats came from.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we make our way carefully with party order and due caution out over this sort of direction. Is that right?
Yeah.
The passageway turns to the south, then turns to the west, and then the stairs going up.
Ooh. Back to the surface.
Follow the stairs.
Right, so there's some stairs going up.
Progress carefully.
The corridor turns north, and then it opens out into a room, and there is a door just there.
Are we going to go up and investigate the room since it's opens out into it, or are we going to open the door first?
Send the
Send the gnome.
Send the gnome to listen at the door.
Yeah. Okay, listen at the door.
Okay, roll a listen roll, Howard.
It's a natural 9, and my listen isn't going to add a lot more to that. +5 for listen, so it's a 14.
You don't hear anything.
All is quiet. Door locked?
Nope, it's not locked.
Cool. In which case, I will stand back and cover whoever wants to open.
Well, without Lómeril on one side and Vulf on the other.
Okay, the passageway continues on.
What, through the door?
Useful to have a door in case you're being pursued by rats.
Okay, so the corridor continues on. You'll see that it continues on west and opens up into a room.
Cool. So we have 2 options that open up.
Let's go down here.
Well, go that way because we can shut the door behind us.
Yeah.
Quite a large room.
What's in the room?
Okay, it continues a bit further than that, so I'll just fill in the rest of it. But it's probably just about the length of your light. In size.
Do we hear or see anything moving? Any threats?
The room is completely quiet. I will describe the other things in the room in a second. There are some things in the room, but nothing is currently attempting to attack you.
Good start.
It's a funny shaped room with some niches, and there's a corridor leading out, and there's a corridor leading that way. The room is dark and silent. A long, wide hall stretches ahead, with small alcoves and niches along its length. Many of these hold small shelves that display various small idols or statuettes of an unknown origin. In other places, the shelves are empty. At the southern end of the room is a large stone table holding a triptych of massive size.
Well, this is where Lómeril would go now, but lots and lots of fake idols, like an altar with a huge book on it.
A triptych to whom?
Where are you all at this moment in time? You actually look.
Probably in the room if we see this.
And then if it looks safe, we will move in cautious.
You're heading into the room when things start to move on the shelf.
And start to move on the shelves. All these strange idols are waking up.
Yes, they do.
Do any of them fall over or fall off their shelves?
They jump off their shelves.
Does that say animated dwarven arm?
It isn't animated dwarven armor, but doesn't in the set of stuff. It doesn't seem to have anything that quite matches what I want. So it will be these. Yeah, there's 6 of these that jump out, and there's 2 bigger ones.
I have 2 colour sprays left.
Not sure it's going to affect these things.
No, I think we may have to just make them. Yeah, and when I say we,
Shoot them. That'll work.
yeah, I shall supply the pace and shoot.
Okay, so we need to roll some initiative, guys.
Are they all the same size? There were 2 big ones and 5 little ones.
Oh, so there should be another one. There's 6 little ones. Okay, they are strange-looking statuettes. They're not of humanoid form.
Form, aren't they? Insectoid?
More little homunculus type things? Or?
That's a good word, but it's not that, no.
Demons? Slugs?
No, they look like odds and sods. Pipe,
Gargoyles.
gargoyle type. They don't look animalistic at all. Weird-shaped, straight edges.
All animated stone statues.
Yeah, just kind of random-shaped animated statues.
Weird.
Yeah, very weird looking.
Suggest we smeg the big ones first.
Okay, so their initiatives are going to be that.
Jestix has 11 and Lómeril has 13.
I have a 5. God, last time I was rolling great. Today I'm rolling great. It has.
15 for me.
Ooh, they go on 20.
They're moving first, then.
Charge towards them.
Well, they do, yes. They won't do that. They do.
Disintegrate as they hit the floor.
No, what they do is all of them moved together into one spot
And merge.
and merge to produce a Uber-sized one.
Can't say I approve of that.
Okay? So there's an Uber-sized one.
How big is this uber-sized one? Large? Huge? Medium?
Ginormous.
It takes up 4 squares, so it's 20 foot sort of size.
4 squares is large.
Yes, it counts as a large creature.
Okay. You're very big, aren't you?
Bigger than its component parts.
Well, it's made up of a lot of empty space, shall we say. But the bits seem to have slotted together to create this amorphous, death-dealing creature. And it's going to start lumbering towards you. So, Vulf, 15.
I start singing, readying my axe.
Okay, you're singing.
Be brave, or a cry of once more unto the breach, dear friends, that sort of thing.
This it doesn't count as a giant type, does it? Ogres, trolls, and giants. I'm hard hit by those buggers.
No, I'm afraid not. Unless it counts all large creatures, I'd assume it doesn't.
It is against most of the giant types. No, I think it is actually the big giant humanoids.
Okay, so Vulf is doing some kind of inspire, I assume.
Yep, so everybody gets +1 to hit and damage and on fear saves, I think.
Okay, Lómeril's go.
Lómeril will probably attempt to shoot it.
Okay, go for it.
21, which is a natural 20.
Threat. But I'm not sure these are the constructs, so I don't think they have the...
Can't remember in 3.5.
Lómeril is using a masterwork longsword, masterwork bow.
Yeah, actually it's 23, but it's more a question of whether it's threat enabled.
Oh, it's a hit. It's definitely a hit. Question is, can you crit a construct? Thank you for that, James. I thought the answer was that too. So, no, you can't crit it, but you've definitely hit it.
So that's 6 damage.
It has taken 6 damage.
Really good stuff.
Jestix.
I'm casting a spell.
Dun dun dun.
And does the bard's song yet help us?
Or,
Yes.
or at least I'm attempting to cast a spell, let's put it that way. Presumably I have to roll.
Why do you have to roll?
Why would you have to roll?
Alright, in which case I cast
What is it?
Shillelagh.
Succeeds.
Just works.
You only need to roll things if you're actually in combat and you don't want someone to hit you.
Ah, right, okay.
Okay, so Jestix, are you moving up or are you staying where you are?
I'm staying where I am at the moment with everybody else.
Okay, so Freya.
Shoot it. That's everything I can do.
Okay.
Find myself a nice little angle and shoot. It's only 13.
13, I don't think it's a hit.
Probably gets ping.
Did you take into account the +1 from the bard?
One more. I didn't include the bard's bonus.
So 14 would be a hit.
Oh, excellent. I actually hit something. That's a D6 plus +5 bonus. That will be 6 points of damage as well. It's +1 to hit and damage.
Yes.
That is enough for it to shatter back
Don't worry, boys. I've got this.
into
Its component parts.
the component parts, and that one disappears.
Oh, sorry.
There's one less.
Each one of those is 12 points. Good for a while.
Not necessarily, because it all combined to a 12-point monster.
On its go 20, it will take its full round to try to reassemble itself. Okay?
Okay.
And it will move forward 4 squares. Then it's Vulf.
I finish doing my inspiration, but it lasts 5 rounds, and I'm going to. Can I rage?
Take a potion of dragon's breath and kill it?
Only I have one.
You have? We found 5, I gave 1 to everyone, and the rest are on the mule.
Maybe I wasn't there for that.
Remind me at some point to give you a potion of dragon's breath.
Sorry, just checking to see whether or not my rage and being able to throw things is compatible.
I don't think you can rage and throw. I don't think you can throw while raged.
That's what I'm just checking. Can't cast spells, can't use certain feats. No, I can. I think throwing something is quite within range anyway.
But only if it's an empty bottle.
And you do it in a Glaswegian accent.
So I'm going to rage and I'm going to throw my axe. So 12 to hit.
Total 12. Miss.
Okay, I miss. Bouncing off its armour.
Lómeril.
Shoot it again. It's not got here yet. 14, 17.
That's hit.
9 damage.
Ooh, that's pretty good. Still there, though. Jestix.
Well, given I haven't got a ranged weapon, I will move and engage.
It doesn't have a long range, so you can get there.
And then I will flurry of blows it.
Isn't that part of a full round action?
Yes, it is.
In which case I'll just hit it normally. 13, 16, 17.
17 to hit.
Yeah.
Hit.
Doing 15 damage.
Right.
That'll hurt.
15 damage?
That's a lot of damage, Mr. Monk.
Yep, the advantage of having a shillelagh. It becomes a D10 weapon,
Ooh.
and a +1 D10 weapon at that.
Ooh.
Wow, how much did you just do?
15.
15. So that's just...
Bits of rock go flying everywhere. Magnificent blow.
Yeah, it does, again, shatter.
We've taken out 1 of its 6 lives.
I think the combined is actually more than 20 that time.
It was 24.
So it loses 2 of its parts.
At which point Henry then attacks one of the parts.
Or he'll break his teeth and stones, poor little dog.
But they're only small. It'll worry them.
Well, no.
22.
Yes, that's a hit.
Does the dog get your inspiration bonus?
Yeah, all allies.
5 damage.
I have to say, it's the first time I've really seen you in combat, in anger. Quite impressed with that blow with the old cudgel.
Smash. Okay, Freya.
I will move my 5 feet to ensure that I have as clean a shot as I can, and I will shoot at this big one here, providing it's safe.
Okay.
11 plus 4, so that is 15 to hit.
Hit.
My damage +1 is 5. One of the little guys.
I thought you said the big guy.
I think of them as little. How big are they?
The tiny one or the small one?
The small, the larger of the 2.
So that was 5, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll begin in the next round.
Not the place to be, Henry. Vulf and Lómeril, did they move up?
No, because they've
been shooting.
This one will move up and attack Jestix. This one will move and attack Vulf. And these 2 will attack Henry. Okay, so Vulf's one does a slam attack against you, getting a 10. Jestix is going to do a slam attack against Jestix, getting a 13, which is probably going to miss as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Henry gets 2 slam attacks, natural 1, and an 18.
which hits.
Okay, this is a tiny one, isn't it? Which does a G3 minus 1 damage, doing 2 points damage. That's the end of the go. So, Vulf, this will be the second or third of your thingy.
Yep. I attack.
Okay.
19, so that's going to hit. 11 damage.
Okay, still there. Lómeril.
Well, change weapons and hit it.
He's currently within the attack area of something. So if he...
Well, he wasn't until somebody moved him up there.
Okay, so he's going to move.
It will change weapons and move in a hit.
Yeah, okay, I'll allow it. What's the point in having the speed crawl feat then, if you're a fighter?
Because if you wanted to throwing multiple things in a round, for instance, or if you want to take out a second weapon, stuff like that.
Or you don't have to move.
It's a free action, not a part of a move action.
That's a 20, which is a hit,
Okay,
doing 8 damage.
dead. Next to go is Jestix.
I will flurry of blows the one nearest me, getting a 20 on the first blow.
I rolled 20.
Yeah, there's no point rolling it again because you can't crit them. And a miss on the second blow.
Okay.
And the first blow does 12.
Yes, dead.
And then Henry attacks one of the ones attacking him, rolled off a 17 to make an 8, which is a miss.
Okay. The two remaining ones will attack Henry.
Doesn't the gnome get a go?
No, sorry, we missed Fria. Sorry, apologies, Howard.
Fria shoots and misses. Right, you'll go.
These were two, so one got a natural 1, followed by, just rolled off a 20.
Yeah, well, it seems only fair. Mine rolled off a 17.
So that's natural 4, so that's the 2 misses, followed now by Vulf.
I shall move up and hit one of the ones on Henry. 19 to hit.
I see.
10 damage.
10. Lómeril?
Yeah, if he can get up and attack the other one, he will.
You can get there anyway.
Getting a 1.
That's a miss. Jestix.
I will, if I can get it, I will attack it as well.
You may have to go round, but you've got loads of speed, haven't you?
So normal attack, 5, and Henry attacks, getting a 12.
Miss.
No, sorry, not 12. 13. Still not enough. 14.
It's going up all the time.
Actually, I would guess Henry would probably have flanking, so that's +2.
16. 6 damage.
Dead.
I start having a look round.
I will cast my cantrip on Henry, healing 1 point.
Did Henry get much of a pounding?
I've already cast it, so I can't do that. He took 2 points.
Hurrah! Victory! You let out a bellow of
Oh, can I have a look at the big book? The triptych.
Okay, a triptych is a 3-part picture painting.
It's not a book in the slightest.
painting of what?
It's 3 religious pictures normally, that's the point.
A triptych is something nice or something dodgy?
I wouldn't go running down there to look at the triptych straight away, because there may be more of these things popping out of alcoves.
I thought the triptych was here.
Yes, it is.
Ah, right, okay. I assumed it was the other end.
You came into the room, you looked at it, and then the creatures attacked you.
Okay, so while he looks at it, I will carry on looking down the corridor, waiting for some more beasties to pop out of the alcove.
It's made of 3 flat pieces of ebony, framed in copper, held with copper hinges. The triptych contains a map of the night sky with various small jewels holding the position of stars and planets. It's quite heavy, it's about 300 pounds.
Praise?
On then.
Vulf is actually better at praising, I think, if you want to have a go. I will assist Vulf's praise.
Well, if I were you, I would have a roll, and I could have a roll, and
then we'll discuss it.
We'll argue about it.
Okay, my praise roll is...
I get a 4.
I get a 6.
It's a bit of junk, really. It looks impressive, but it isn't really. Yeah, why would someone put this piece of junk in this room? Obviously, it's a trap.
Okay, we've ignored so many artworks, tapestries. Just ignore it and move on.
If it's pretty big, then yeah.
I mean, it's obviously paste. The gems are not real.
Yeah.
You initially thought it was ebony, but actually it's just stained pine.
It's pine and boot polish.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely convinced by this. I will have my own assessment.
Have you got a praise?
Yep, 18.
It could be as much as 1,000 GPs.
No way.
Mentally, I do that, but I'm a monk. I don't care. If they think it's tat, it's tat. I won't tell them any differently.
Serves them right for being avarice over wretches.
Precisely.
Okay, so you basically got little alcoves with where these things were.
Have a look around.
But how detailed a search you do have?
I'll take 10.
Okay, so you wander around the room taking 10, you find enough.
And so ends session 5 of the Dragon's Delve exploration. Join us next time as the adventure continues.